Today I am going to talk about A Court of Silver Flames. Right now, the last book in the ACOTAR series. I know that there are 2 more coming out soon and then another one after that at some point, but I'm going to talk about my feelings about this book and what happened in it and crochet a granny square that represents this cover. So let's get started. When I first read this book, this is my my first reread, so my second time reading the book, but I didn't necessarily like Nesta all that much, but I feel like this time she was a lot more bearable to me. I think that her girly friendship and Cassian made the book feel just so much better. When I first read this book, I didn't necessarily like Nesta, but I think this time around, I actually enjoyed her a little more. I kind of felt I knew where she was coming from, and I also thought that her friendship, like the girl group friendship, made the story a little more fun to read. I think that I rated it a 4-star the first time that I read it, and I definitely rated it like a 4.75 this time. I really liked it, and I also loved her and Cassian together. So it was a nice little switch of narrators, if you will. I can see how people feel like Nesta is a little unbearable, like they don't like her at all. I can see it, I can see why, but if you've ever gone through like such a deep depression that she did, it kind of just feels real. Sarah J. Maas is like writing this book, and it just feels like a decent representation of depression. I don't know how else to say that other than like it just feels like Nesta is going through a deep depression, and that's kind of what it felt like in real life. So I don't know, I think Sarah J. Maas does the depression writing well. I love that Cassian never gave up on Nesta. I feel like it's always important to have somebody in your corner, and she always did, no matter if she wanted it or not. It seemed like he did give up on her in the beginning, but you could tell that he wasn't going to because of how angry he was at himself when he was saying he was giving up. Like, you could tell that he didn't want to, and that he loved her from the beginning and wanted her to feel okay. And I think that is exactly what Nesta needed. Amren really made me upset this book. Like, she made me angry or annoyed or something. Like, I don't know how I felt, but it wasn't a positive attitude towards her this book. I feel like she has been around for so long that there's no reason that she should be acting that way towards Nesta. And I know that Nesta apologized to her, but honestly, I feel like she really didn't need to. A hot take, but I kind of feel that Amren was being a little bitch. I feel like Amren was acting like a child, even though she's however old. She's the oldest out of everyone, and she was the one acting like a child. I know Nesta was too, but like, no reason for Amren to act that way. Like I said earlier, I really enjoyed the like girl friendship plot. I think that girl friendships are very important in life, and I really enjoyed those friendships and the sister relationships. I liked reading about all of that. It was really nice that those relationships were mixed in with the relationships, like the romantic relationships. I think that it added to the book. It gave it like 3 different type of genres, 3 different type of different relationships. I don't know. But I thought that it was a nice touch. It gave you a lot to like read about and look forward to hearing about and seeing, and I liked all of the relationships in this book a lot. I feel like this book hits on some really heavy topics around like trauma and depression and everything like that. I can't really critique it though. I think that everybody's journey is different, and I feel like Sarah J. Maas wrote it in a way that it's not too triggering, and it does, how do I say it? It does give you some insight into those things if you haven't experienced those things yourself. And it's kind of enlightening and interesting to read about. On a lighter note, I loved all the training scenes. It makes me want to work out. I don't know how else to say that, but like them training makes me want to train like they did, maybe a little less, but it makes me want to work out and be strong like they are. The tension between Nesta and Cassian was fantastic, and I also really liked the spicy scenes. I think it was really well written for how their personalities are. I know this book is a lot spicier than the other books in this series, but it really does play into their personalities, in my opinion. I think that their personalities lend themselves to be more feisty, more spicy, more tension heavy, and I liked it. I liked it a lot. I liked that the house ended up being one of the girls. I don't know how else to explain that one, but the house ended up being one of the girls, and because of Nesta's power, it became what Nesta needed, which I did not remember from my first read through, but I like that aspect of it, and that the house read romantasy books and gave them to Nesta and suggested certain ones. I just thought it was like a really nice touch, and I like that the house took care of her when nobody else was, and got her like ailments of like the fire crackling, whatever, and like catered to her, because I feel like it's very nice to have someone who cares, and it, even if it was the house, that Nesta's magic made the house, you know, I think that it was still really nice for her to have that type of situation in her life. I loved the dancing scene with Nesta and Eris and Cassian. I just can imagine how beautiful Nesta looked. I like, honestly, if there is a show at any point, I think that sequence has to be in the show, because I want to see how she looked and how gracefully she moved and how she just like let go. And I loved that Cassian butted in because he couldn't stand Eris being with her. Oh, it was really good. I think the beauty of it in my mind and the like longing tension of it from Cassian was just like all around a really good chapter. The miniature Pegasus during the girls' night is actually kind of hilarious. I think I would love a magical house. Could you imagine being at a sleepover and you're just like making things up? Also, the sleepover where the bracelets get made and Nesta like makes her power, puts her power into the charm and makes the wishes like true. Kind of love that detail. I feel like everything's so interconnected, and it's just like so fun to read. I feel like I related a lot to Nesta in this time around while reading this book. I don't know how else I could explain that other than I feel like I went through like a few similar things, and have felt things that she has felt before. But I really liked how she was head over heels for Cassian, but couldn't admit it to herself because it's scary. And I feel like that just is like an everyday thing that isn't written about in books all that much. And I just liked reading that portion of it, that she, like, when she finally like accepted the bond, and my words are not working today, but it was so real within this fantasy book that like her feelings were so big and she was scared of them, which is fair, because after you're fighting this depression and you're trying to feel anything other than like sad or angry, and you're like feeling this love for somebody, it's really hard to accept that you are willing to love this person always, even when you're feeling so shitty and you're trying to heal. And I kind of like that aspect of the book. Even though she was kind of denying it, it was more of not a denial, but of a realization. Like she knew it, but she couldn't let herself actualize her relationship with Cassian. And I love that she finally did, and she like let go. The dead trove, that scene with the mask was so tense and crazy. I could just imagine it. I was having fun reading that scene. The scene was just so intense, and she got dragged under, and I don't know how to say it other than like manipulated by this creature, and she came out victorious, and also with the mask, and also as like this boss ass bitch who has like an army of dead behind her. It's just really cool to imagine. When she found the harp, I feel like I was a little underwhelmed because the mask was such a big deal, and I feel like the harp was just like a little less. But I did like that she got to help and save Cassian, and that it showed how the harp worked. And in the end of the book, like obviously she uses the harp, so it was like necessary, but it was a little underwhelming compared to the mask. I kind of like that Cassian tricked them into qualifying for the blood right. I think that it was really cool that they could see that they were strong enough to do it, and that they were so not even close. They were like the Valkyries, is that how you say it? They were boss warrior women. I liked reading about it. I think that it showed how strong they were, and obviously it plays into the rest of the book, but it was just cool that they could qualify for that. When they were trying like to cut the ribbon and become Valkyries or Valkyries, I feel like I was just excited as they were when they were cutting the ribbon and like trying to do it. Like I stopped reading at one point. It was like Valkyries, which is kind of insane, but I kind of liked it. I can't lie. So I'm having trouble saying the men warriors' names. Starts with an I, and I can't say it right now, so I'm not even gonna try. I just tried multiple times, not gonna work. Anyways, them forcing the girls into the blood rite was so intense and crazy, but then to find out that Briallen had planted weapons in the blood right, and also had made a bunch of the guys, or at least one of them, be like her, for lack of a better term, slave to get to them, was such a plot twist. But like, I should have saw it coming. I liked the blood right a lot. I liked reading the whole thing. I was actually kind of upset that Nesta didn't get to finish. But I understand why she didn't, but I'm kind of upset about it. It was awesome to see them all work together as a team, like girl power and all of that. I loved how they found each other and how the charm bracelet came back into play. And it's just really cool to read about. I would never want to go through that myself, but it's just like really cool to picture. Honestly, I was never afraid for Cassian's life when he got taken over by the Crown and Brie Allen. Like, was never questioned that he would be fine. I'm also really happy that Cassian and Nesta are mates. They're perfect together. Like, they play off of each other really well. I honestly didn't remember how the book ended the first time I read it. So Nesta giving up most of her power to save Feyre, the baby, and Rhysand was not on my bingo card for some reason. I don't know why it didn't stick with me the first time, but it was not on my bingo card. It wasn't. Nesta using the whole dead trove to save Feyre was actually insane behavior, but I'm glad that it worked. I'm happy that Feyre and Rhys had Nyx. I think that was like just a good plot line. I was upset that they hid all that stuff from Feyre, but I like that they had a baby. I really wish we could read more about the wedding, like Cassian and Nesta's and Feyre and Rhys's, but I doubt that we'll get any of that in the next book. I would like to read about it though. If it was a small novella, I think I would pick it up. I'm really happy for Cassian and Nesta, and I'm excited to see what is to come in the next 3 books. I can't wait to read them. And as you can tell, I've just been playing with this granny square, so here is the final granny square to match the book cover.